Recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you so much. Mr. President, I move that we table the remaining bills on the calendar.
Senator has motioned that we table. Is there objection? Without objection, they will table the bills. Recognize senators from the 17th.
Mr. President, I move that House Bill 404 be removed from the table.
House Bill 404 is there objection? Without objection. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 404, a bill by Representative Carpenter of the 4th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 44 of the OCGA relating to landlord and tenant so as to provide for a duty of habitability for certain rental agreements, to provide for an exception to such duty, to provide for an exception to landlord tort liability, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. The Judiciary Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 404, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 44 of the OCGA relating to landlord and tenant so as to provide for a duty of habitability for certain rental agreements, to provide for notice and further purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
I recognize the senator for 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 404 deals with setting some standards in our code for tenants under Georgia law. You may not realize that 1/3 of Georgians actually rent their homes. What this bill does, this bill was work really over the last year and a half between interested parties representing landlords, also representing tenants, to try to codify some what I would call common sense standards. One, making sure that a dwelling is fit for human habitation, defining what that means. Second, making sure that when you're looking at what can be done when someone's in the middle of eviction process, that their air conditioning can't be turned off. Third, it caps the amount of security deposit that must be required up front for someone. And finally, it deals with a pre-eviction process, try to avoid an eviction process for the allowance of a certain notice to be sent prior to eviction, prior to the eviction process actually starting with the court. Again, I want to commend all the parties that worked so hard on this bill. The only reason this is a substitute is we had to change the effective date to make it 24. This is the same bill that passed the House last year with all the parties that, at the table. Happy to answer any questions.
Recognize the senator from 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, isn't that true? This bill is a culmination of a lot of really good work by a lot of very involved stakeholders that brings us in line with prevailing trends nationally, and that we're all going to be honored to vote for this legislation.
I hope so. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have no other questions, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 44 and the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. You ready? Secretary Reed, House Bill 663. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, let me recognize the senator from the 50th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we remove from the table House Bill 663.
Senators move that we take House Bill 663 off the table. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 663, a bill by Representative Hatchett of the 155th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the OCGA relating to regulation and construction of hospitals and other healthcare facilities so as to establish certain rights of minors and adults admitted to hospitals and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Watson of the 1st District Chairman. The Health and Human Services Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 663. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the OCGA relating to regulation and construction of hospitals and other healthcare facilities so as to establish certain rights of minors and adults admitted to hospitals and long-term care facilities and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection? Hearing none, I recognize the senator from the 50th. Speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I bring to you House Bill 663. This is a very important bill to me. This is the first bill that I've carried that my uncle passed in the House. And this bill is dedicated to my grandmother, Bunny Crawford Hatchett, who on December 5th, 2020, died from COVID. 17 days before she passed away, my uncle took her to the hospital and knew that this would likely be the last time he would be able to hug her and she would be able to hug him back. During the COVID-19 pandemic, your family wasn't allowed to visit you while you were in the hospital. And I know there are a lot of personal stories in this chamber. I know there are a lot of people who fought to get family inside hospitals. What this bill does is says that when a child is hospitalized, one of his parents, his or her parents or guardian, has the right to be with them in the hospital. When an adult is hospitalized, he or she has the right to designate one person who shall be allowed to be with them in the hospital. This bill will prevent children or family members from having to die alone without their loved ones or be in the hospital without anyone there besides the medical personnel to take care of them. Mr. President, I'm happy to yield for questions, but I ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 663.
You do have a couple questions, Senator. Recognize the senator from the 49th. Speak.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 54th.
Without objection, senator from the 54th is excused. Senator from the 33rd, do you have a question? You asking for?
Excuse.
Okay, well, hold on one second, Senator. All right, you have no questions, Senator.
Thank you,
from
Mr.
the
President.
50th.
I yield the well.
All right. Now, Senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 22nd for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, senator from the 22nd is excused. Senator from the 36th.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 34th.
Without objection, senator from the 34th is excused. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against this measure? Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. The question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0. This bill having received requisite constitutional majority, therefore passed by substitute. Recognize Senator from the 17th for a motion. Senator from the 17th.
I got distracted, Mr. President. I ask
okay.
unanimous consent that House Bill 1010 be removed from the table.
Senators ask that House Bill 1010 be moved from the table. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 1010, a bill by Representative Jones of the 47th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 20 of Title 45 of the OCGA relating to personnel administrative relative to public officers and employees, so as to increase the number of hours permitted for paid parental leave and for the purposes. The Senate Committee on Children and Family recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd District Chairman. The Senate Committee on Children and Families offers the following substitute to House Bill 1010, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 20 of Title 45 of the OCGA relating to personnel administration relative to public officers and employees, so as to increase the number of hours permitted for paid parental leave and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 17th. Oh, is there objection? No objection. Senator from 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, House Bill 1010 really does three things. First, and most importantly, it increases the paid paternal leave for our state employees from 3 weeks to 6 weeks. So it'll double the current time we have in law for paid parental leave. Second, it has clarifying language ensuring that state employees of local education agencies are also included in this benefit. And third, it makes sure we give notice to our state employees about this benefit. This bill is the right thing to do from a standpoint of us making sure for our state employees that we are most competitive to recruit people to work for us, to show that we support working families in our state. It's also the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do for our working families in our state. With this bill, we will help increase the standard that we set as a state for our employees that hopefully will encourage more private businesses to do something similar or even something better. And I hope that this is not the last time we address this. Frankly, I don't think this is enough. I think we should do more. But this doubles what we're currently doing under state law and is a step in the right direction to make sure we're supporting young working families in our state. Especially families that have mom and dad that are both working out of the home or a single parent that's working as well. With that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
You do have one question, Senator. Recognize the Senator from 56.
Would the Senator yield?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that this bill is a pro-family and pro-life bill?
It is pro-family and it's pro-life. Yes, sir.
You have no other questions, Senator.
I ask for your favorable consideration.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. Main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 42, the nays are 6. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Recognize the senator from the 32nd for a motion. Senator from the 32nd for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that HB 896 be lifted off the table. I yield to the lady from the 32nd.
Senator from the 32nd, you have House Bill 1410 that I think you want to make a motion to take it off the table.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for unanimous consent to take House Bill 1410 off the table.
All right. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 1410, a bill by Representative Estration of the 104th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 3 of Title 8 of the OCGA relating to housing generally, so as to establish a stable housing accountability program, to provide for an application process and minimum standards, to provide for the use of certain funds and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Beach of the 21st District Chairman. The Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism offers the following substitute to House Bill 1410, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 3 of Title 38 of the OCGA relating to housing generally, so as to establish a stable housing accountability program, to provide for an application process and minimum standards, to provide for the use of certain funds and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize, is there objection? Without objection, recognize Senator from 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is designed to address homelessness by creating a voluntary program similar to our accountability courts, but outside of the criminal justice system. The framework would use the existing state housing trust fund for the homeless account to help fund stable housing accountability programs in local communities. Those are known as SHAPs. The bill allows funding from state, federal, and private grants, and it's expected that there would be strong interest from private corporations. In fact, I've already heard from one company who wants to make a large donation. The proposed 2025 budget has $1 million in funding. The State Housing Trust Fund for the Homeless would oversee the grants, which could be earmarked for local programs. The individuals would have to follow certain standards, including drug testing, job training, and would agree to maintain sobriety, and they would have to be U.S. citizens. There would be an audit of the program reported back to the General Assembly by the end of 2025. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you. I yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor of the bill vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 45, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Recognize the senator from the 31st for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll get it right this time. I ask that HB 896 be taken off the table.
Senators ask that House Bill 896 be removed from the table. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 896, a bill by Representative Newt of the 64th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 19 of the OCGA relating to divorce, so as to provide for a process by which individuals may change their married surname to a prior surname or the given surname on their birth certificate following a divorce and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection? Without objection, I recognize the senator from the 31st.
Good evening, Mr. President and everyone. HB 896. This bill would streamline the process for individuals who, after a divorce is final and did not change their name back to their maiden or birth certificate name, will be able to do so by cutting costs, time, and paperwork for those individuals who simply want to get their identity back. Basically, would petition the Superior Court for the name change. Clerk of court would charge a small fee, no publication in newspaper, and the judge would be able to, with or without a hearing, restore the person's surname on their birth certificate. With that, Mr. President, I'll take any questions or yield the will.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Recognize the senator from the 1st for a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we lift from the table House Bill 874.
Senator has asked that we remove House Bill 874 from the table. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 874, a bill by Representative Hawkins of the 27th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 16 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the OCGA relating to health, so as to require automated external defibrillators in all schools, to provide for definitions, to provide for the establishment of emergency action plans, to address a person in cardiac arrest, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Education and Youth recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon of the 45th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection? Hearing none, I recognize the senator from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 874 has to do with AEDs, the automatic external defibrillators. It requires K through 12 to have these in schools. It requires a team. It requires training and has a response team. And basically, that's it. Mr. President, I'll be happy to answer any questions. If not, I ask your favorable consideration.
Question. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. Report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 48 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Recognize the senator from the 50th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 259.
Senators move that the Senate agree to the House substitute on Senate Bill 259. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 259, a bill by Senator Hatchett of the 50th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 6 of Title 15 of the OCGA relating to general provisions regarding the superior courts, so as to move the Superior Court of Banks County from the Piedmont Judicial Circuit to the Mountain Judicial Circuit and for other purposes. The House offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 259, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 6 of Title 15 of the OCGA relating to general provisions regarding the Superior Courts, so as to move the Superior Court of Banks County from the Piedmont Judicial Circuit to the Mountain Judicial Circuit and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 50th. Speak to the measure. Senator from the 33rd, for what purpose do you rise?
Ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 2nd for business outside the Capitol.
All right. Without objection, is he excused?
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I bring you Senate Bill 259. We have actually passed this language out of this chamber 2 times already. I believe it was unanimous both times. The change that was needed is we passed this last year out of the Senate. They held it in the House, and so when we passed it back out of the House, it had to be amended, and all that changed was the effective date is now January 1, 2025 instead of January 1, 2024. What this does is it moves Banks County from the Piedmont Judicial Circuit into the Mountain Judicial Circuit. All the locals have been consulted. We had a House Judiciary meeting in Banks County during the off season. This is a good bill and would really appreciate your favorable consideration. I'm happy to yield for any questions.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Senator from the 50th, move that the Senate agree to House substitute to Senate Bill 259 without objection. All those in favor will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the motion, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 0. But Senator from the 19th, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I need to talk with my colleague and ask if he needs a motion to reconsider. He does.
It's up to you, Senator. I mean, yeah. It was 40. All right. On the motion to reconsider, is there objection? All right. Without objection, all those in favor of the motion vote yea. All those opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. Okay. I tell you what, it's almost as bad. It's almost as bad as the senator from the 30th. Picked up some opposition. That's what you get for not paying attention, Senator. Senator from the 19th, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I move we excuse the senator from the 50th.
Who's got? Okay. So we're. All right. We got queued on us, so let's go back to the senators here. So we got to vote on it one more time, and this is for final passage. All those in favor of the motion to the House substitute of the Senate Bill 259 will vote yea, opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 45th, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, isn't it true that the senator from the 50th needs some more training or further training on how to use his buttons at his desk?
Senator knows what he speaks. Senator from the 23rd, be on standby. All right. Recognize Senator from the 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 496.
All right, hold that thought. Trying to get us out of here too quick. Let me go back up on the vote on the motion is 49, nays are 0, so the motion passes. I won't ever make a special exception for you again, Senator from the 50th. I'm kidding. All right, here we go. Moving on. Senator from the 23rd, you've asked that you agree to House substitute on Senate Bill 496, correct?
That's correct, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 496, a bill by Senator Burns of the 23rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the OCGA relating to general provisions relative to ad valorem taxation of property and for other purposes. The House offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 496, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the OCGA relating to the imposition, rate, computation, exemptions, and credits relative to income taxes, so as to extend the sunset date for the tax credits for the rehabilitation of historic structures and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize Senator from 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I bring you the House substitute to Senate Bill 496. This extends the sunset dates for some tax credits. It also clarifies what is a historic tax structure or building and per Department of Community Affairs requirements. If there are no questions, I'll yield the well. Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? On the motion that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 496, on the motion, all those in favor will vote yea, all opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 46, the nays are 2, and this motion has prevailed. All right, last one of the night. Recognize the senator from the 11th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 436.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 436, a bill by Senator Watson of the 11th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 1B of Article 13 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the OCGA relating to operation of farm use vehicles and for other purposes. The House offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 436, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 1B of Article 13 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the OCGA relating to operation of farm use vehicles and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 11th.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're just adding of husbandry to everywhere you see in Section 1, implement of husbandry to match the definition of implements of husbandry. Be glad to take any questions if there are any. If not, I'll yield the well, Mr. President.
I have no questions, Senator.
Thank you. Appreciate your support.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Hearing none. Senators move that the Senate agree to the House substitute on Senate Bill 436. All those in favor of the motion will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0, and this motion has prevailed. Recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Hey, Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand adjourned pursuant to H.R. 978 until 10 a.m. on Tuesday, March 26.
The majority leader has moved. Secretary, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee will meet at 10 a.m. on Monday, March 25th, in room 450 of the Capitol. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Majority leader has moved that we stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Tuesday, March 26. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it. Y'all have a good weekend.